Donald Trump is here tonight. Now, I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac? All kidding aside, obviously we all know about your credentials and breadth of experience. For example, no, seriously, just recently in an episode of Celebrity Apprentice at the steakhouse, the men's cooking team did not impress the judges from Omaha Steaks. And there was a lot of blame to go around, but you, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night. Well handled, sir. Well handled. Say what you will about Mr. Trump. He certainly would bring some change to the White House. Let's see what we've got up there.
He could have told them to stand down. He could have told them to go home. And he failed to do so. It's hard to imagine a more significant and more serious dereliction of duty than that. As the assault on the Capitol occurred, we know, as you know well, that the briefing room at the White House is just a mere few steps from the Oval Office. The president could have at any moment walked those very few steps into the briefing room, gone on live television, and told his supporters who were assaulting the Capitol to stop. He could have told them to stand down. He could have told them to go home. And he failed to do so. It's hard to imagine a more significant and more serious dereliction of duty than that.
Saudi Arabia has been a very great friend and a big purchaser of equipment and lots of other things. In terms of dollars, $3 billion, $533 million, $525 million. That's peanuts for you. Should have increased it. $880 million, $645 million, $6 billion. That's for frigates. 889 million, 63 million, and that's for various artillery. Saudi Arabia is a very wealthy nation, and they're going to give the United States some of that wealth, hopefully, in the form of jobs, in the form of the purchase of the finest military equipment anywhere in the world. There's nobody even close. As I said before, when it comes to the missiles and the planes and all of the military equipment, there's nobody that even comes close to us in terms of technology and the quality of the equipment. And Saudi Arabia appreciates that. They've done tests of everything, and they appreciate it, and they understand it very well, probably better than most. Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor to have the Crown Prince with us.
You will go down in history as unequivocally and inarguably the worst president in American history. He leaves office with his campaign chairman and his deputy campaign chairman convicted felons. With his most long-standing political advisor, Roger Stone, a convicted felon. With his campaign manager, Steve Bannon, under federal indictment and awaiting trial. With a criminal investigation of himself and his business underway in New York, and possibly another criminal investigation pending against him soon in the state of Georgia. With the last two banks on earth that would still do business with him pledging now to never do so again. One of them closing his accounts and calling on him to resign the presidency. The other one is the one to which he has personally guaranteed over $300 million in outstanding loans, which are soon coming due, with no one having any sense of how he will possibly pay them. With his business interests cratering at home and across the globe, with a live question in play as to whether he will be the first president to ever face a lifetime legal ban on him ever running for office again, with even his wife leaving Washington with an approval rating nearly 20 points lower than any other first lady in history. She's the only first lady in history to be viewed on balance negatively by the American public. That's like a physical impossibility, but he's managed it somehow. His longtime fixer and lawyer is also not only now a convicted felon, he's one who has cooperated and is cooperating in an ongoing way with multiple ongoing investigations into the president, including the criminal bank fraud and tax fraud one that is ongoing in New York. His niece is suing him to get the inheritance she says he stole from her. He's soon going to be deposed in a defamation case brought by a woman who says he raped her and who says she saved a dress with his DNA on it to prove it. The company that was lined up to broker the sale of his now flagship property, his D.C. hotel, that company now refuses to be associated with him and will have nothing to do with the sale. The city where he was born and raised and lived his whole life before the White House, New York City, has canceled all its Trump Organization contracts. He, of course, in the middle of his one term in office, said good riddance to New York and moved to Florida, apparently out of some combination of spite and tax interests. But even still, his neighbors in Palm Beach, Florida, are asking that town to enforce zoning and tax rules in order to prevent him from actually moving in there full time. And the PGA won't put tournaments at his golf courses anymore. And he's banned from Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. And apparently they can't find anyone to come to the sore loser send-off that he's throwing himself at dawn on his last morning as president at an airbase after he was voted out after only one term. The only president in U.S. history to have ever lost the popular vote twice, to have been impeached twice. The only defeated incumbent president ever to use violence by his supporters to attack the U.S. government to try to force his continued hold on power. He leaves tomorrow at dawn, slinking out before the inauguration of the man who soundly beat him. He sneaks out early tomorrow as the only president in living memory to face the legitimate prospect of post-presidential conviction in the Senate and a lifetime ban on holding office and potential federal and state criminal charges in the courts. Other than that, how was the play, Mr. President? Was it worth it? If you could have seen today, if you 5 years ago could have fast forwarded to see me say that on TV, and it's all true. If you'd known how it would go by the end of it, would you still have done it? You will go down in history as unequivocally and inarguably the worst president in American history, with what may literally be the rap sheet to prove it. That's what you did. Glad you did it. Wish you could take it back. We do.